Well, brothers and sisters, today's video is gonna be about just having hope. I know that for many young people, it's not easy. In today's day and age, man, it's getting difficult just to survive. I mean, I'm 25 and so much has changed in the past few years. And I do believe that trying to be the best person that you can be, obviously there's gonna be friction because if you want to build something strong, there's always gonna be friction. And just so many young people today, man, are hit with waves of negativity, constantly just saying, oh, this is gonna happen to you, that is gonna happen to you. Just this paranoia out of nowhere. And just, you know, not having, enough hope can really just make things more difficult. And at the end of the day, you know, it's good to be positive in a lot of difficult situations, to stay positive, to keep on fighting, and not to put too much pressure on yourself. Because I believe that, you know, what do they label us as? Like, they label my generation as generation Gen Z. Gen Z. Like, there was this movie about, like war with Z and everything, it's so, like I grew up watching VHS tapes. VHS, like one of the first Pokemons that I watched was on a VHS tape. Yu-Gi-Oh! There was something called Digimon, man. And I've kind of always, fought for my interests, and I'm trying to develop as, like a good person, trying to see, what am I gonna do with my life? How am I gonna support myself? How am I gonna, help out family, friends? And yeah, and just I'm making this video to just say that, have hope, have hope. Hope dies last, and find your true self. Don't let anybody, just drag you down. Fight for your own beliefs. I'm an Orthodox Christian, so I'm gonna have my own biases, but I do believe that I'm a child of God, and even though I have some moments where, you know, I feel alone, I know that God is always there with me, always, always. And I have a guardian angel. He's always been protecting me through my most difficult moments. I've, like truly believe that things are gonna be good for young people. And at the end of the day, even if we're blasted with so many, just products, addictions, addicted to that, addicted to this, it's like just gonna make us stronger. And I do hope that people find, like find themselves, find something that they want to do in their life, have passion for it, and just, you know, as as cringy as it's gonna say, just have hope and try to find something that, like motivates you, drives you through difficult times. Do not overthink things, because I know it's gonna come with practice. Just trying to find what's really motivating you. What like really, take your time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And yeah, just trust God, really. I can tell you, Jesus Christ is King, and yeah, I'm not gonna do any special edits on this video. Just basic stuff. Not gonna overthink anything. Gonna upload it as it is. Mm, please do like, subscribe, leave any comments, letting me know what you think. Man, going back, I um I grew up with, like, let me call it the golden generation of YouTube, where it was PewDiePie, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, even, man, like back in the day when, like, KSI and his brother Deji, like those guys used to be real. They used to be, like, you can see the chemistry between them. You can see, that of course, siblings have scuffles, but you know they used to be it used to be like very entertaining watching them. Of course, they're gonna like over exaggerate, but they, like, you could see that family bonds. Also, there was so many, like, YouTubers that were actually genuine, just being themselves, not caring so much about the like algorithm, trying to, like, not optimizing every little thing and just making it not a craft, not something that, again, that's how I feel. That's how, like, by me just watching them, how I feel about things. And it's like, man, old school PewDiePie, you could see that he was figuring out himself. He was figuring out what is he gonna do, what type of video format. And I was a kid that was like between maybe 10 to 14 when I was watching all these guys, like, man, so many great like YouTubers, which still to this day they make like solid content. And just mm, they just inspire me, to be like, man, you can also do it. You can also be an inspiration to people. You can also find your way through this ocean of videos that it's like YouTube today. And again, um, trying to find your true passion. And man, I just feel like watching them, it really gives you something to strive for. And I don't know if they just like realize how much of a impact they just made on people. And as a person growing up in like Eastern Europe, where it's you just don't realize as a kid how chaotic it is, like, and how you've been spawned into quite a chaotic place on Earth where, don't get me wrong, you can always live in a more like in a very like war-driven country, or just like the worst things you can imagine. But again, I was very fortunate to be at least passionate for school, have some interests, being able to like learn English to a decent level, and just having the belief that from the knowledge that you've gained from school you can like do something. Because nowadays it's just everybody's freaking out about AI, which, yes, you have to fortify your future to the best of your ability, try to like see like what you're gonna do with your life. Relationships nowadays is just, man, it's not easy finding like forget about finding like a soulmate, finding just people to like talk day-to-day life and just be happy with it. um Obviously, one other YouTuber that really just, I feel that he is like a genuine person. His name is I think his actual name, like Moist Critical, like you guys probably know him, very famous. He Charlie, yeah, kind of rocking that like Jesus Christ vibe, just loving the vibe, man. And you know, like his videos have also like helped me go through some not pleasant moments. I kind of have had my difficulties in life as everyone else, and yeah, been trying to do something that helps me out to just stay positive, keep on going, mm, and have hope that everything is gonna be better. It doesn't matter how difficult things are. There always gonna be rainy days. There always gonna be, after a storm, there's always sunshine. It's just, I mean, I'm kind of a person where sometimes I just feel is all the trauma that I've been through kind of making me, for example, play all these difficult games where most people will find this, like while you're playing, getting over it. And like, I like it. It's something that, just it's challenging, and having something to just having that friction where just if you want to build your life, if you want to have financial freedom, try to figure out you know what you're going to do with your life. And if that person, again, after 5 years, for example, how are you gonna see yourself? Like, are you gonna be proud of that person? And don't get me wrong, nowadays you just there's so many people online that just be careful, with some people, because how things are, or you just like don't know who to trust. But I do believe that all those YouTubers that I named previously, they have some of them have changed. Obviously, people changed because opportunities, financial gains, like marketing, whatever. I'm not familiar with the YouTube life because I'm just starting. So what it involves, the pros and cons of things, and yeah, I kind of just think if some of those big YouTubers, like for example, that they're all the hype nowadays, just be like, man, don't forget where you came from, and again, as hard as it is, try to stay humble because nowadays I struggle a lot with like overthinking and just OCD in general. Like keep it day to day, simple, simple, slowly build yourself. Because if you want to build again, I know that I'm repeating myself a lot, but I'm also trying to figure out, what I'm gonna do with my life. Slowly, just try to build your house on something that's gonna, you know, survive all the storms that are gonna come. Because there are always gonna be, storms that are gonna test you. And nowadays, people so just, it's not good to be like Play-Doh. Try to build it, like try to remove all the sand that you've had throughout the years and build your life on, like a stone right now that I'm like standing on something that is not gonna budge for it doesn't like for as long as you live. Something that's what I have in mind. Where it's yeah. mm, Again, I haven't written any script. This is just pure, just instinct of what I'm saying. Adding some willpower to finish the game, obviously, as it's not the easiest game, but it keeps you, it keeps you moving. This part is always kind of tricky, and yeah. Also, just if I can relate to like other people, where I also came from, and man, it just teaches you, lessons. And if, for example, if if I can teach younger people, and again, I'm still learning, but learn from other people's mistakes and actually listen to the older generation, just because you can learn so much without messing up yourself. Obviously, you're gonna like learn from your mistakes. 100%. Always just be humble about it. Don't put too much ego because at the end of the day, as I always say, I'm a bit extreme, but I've always been very competitive, and it's like we all bleed. It doesn't matter how famous the person is, like we are all are going to die one day. And it's like, what do you want to be remembered as? Like, what do you want to live to your family, to the people around you, to friends, to just, difficult questions, but at the end of the day, it's so important as a person that has an intellect that has been given, a mind to where it's it's like learn from the mistakes of others, learn from your mistakes, and don't be too hard on yourself. Because again, I grew up as I'm sure many people in my generation, like trying to blame other labeled generations. It's kind of where it can only go so far where we just gotta be the generation where, we break those rugged, dirty chains where it's like, man, I do hope people find themselves and truly have good families and have good kids. As I'm just sick and tired of seeing, people that have grown up from damaged families, families that just from have just, grown up in toxic environments that are just mm, absolutely the worst environment to help a human being to grow. It's just something that I know there are people that nowadays, again, all of these movements that are happening, everything that is just going on, it's like, man, stick to the fundamentals. You know, they've always been like laws of life, things that it doesn't matter who you are, who do you think you are to actually break them. Just being a good man, being a good woman. You're like, oh, but you're etc. Like, man, go with it. Don't be scared to just like open up your mind and like speak about it. And just having, of course, you're gonna be met with resilience or just like people not liking what you're saying. But at the end of the day, it's like, you gotta fight for the truth, and just believe that from difficult times, strong people appear. And that's my generation where there's so many, I don't even think that there has been a generation where it has been just, so many products that have been. I mean, you can even look at my, World of Warcraft Alliance chair, everything just been made to appeal to the customer, try to addict you, hook you from a young age, where it's like you can do, like a lot of things with it. You can't fight it that much, and the only thing that you can fight is like, okay, how can I use this to my own benefit and to just be good with it, like be happy with something that you have created and not consumed. And believe me, I know there are many people addicted to video games nowadays, to so many things that are labeled as toxic, but try to, make that toxic thing, for example, rather than scrolling all day on like TikTok or any kind of social media, just create something, play a video game, play something that, if you have friends, if you don't have, don't worry. Many people are like in your shoes, where it's they're trying to figure out themselves and going through difficult times. But yeah, I mean, we're slowly get over it. Whatever you're going through, you're not alone. Um, I know it might seem very difficult, especially nowadays. But again, man, have hope. That's I think that's very important. Just have hope that things are always going to get better. And for example, right there, it is better to rather than like overthink it, just be more confident and go with it. You know, I hesitated on the snowman and it got me back to the anvil. But don't let your emotions dictate what you can and can't do. And be like, okay, what's gonna be the best thing here? You can get angry and be like, oh man, why didn't I do it? And like today, it's when I see news like streamers or whatever, like new content, I'm kind of, let's say, old school now, right? Where I'm used to the old type of content where I know things change so fast now, but I like to watch documentaries or just long format videos or even like 20-25 minute videos, or that kind of format where it's not insta just a couple of seconds, where you have to protect your attention span. It's important to try to develop any type of skill. Read books, as it really helps, because now it just helps you to even something little, just 5 minutes a day, something, something on a piece of paper, just because it has gotten that bad, where it's important to mm, keep healthy, try to find something that relaxes you, something that helps you like unwind after like a difficult day. And yeah, man, stay positive and keep on going, because the only way that you're gonna see any growth is if you know mold yourself, put yourself into the cast iron, like make yourself into something strong, better than steel, just something that has to go through challenges. You have to be forged. That's the actual truth of life. It's just all these challenges that you've gone through, and believe me, there are all kinds of people with all kinds of different life stories. But at the end of the day, the good thing about our generation is that, as we're so easily connected nowadays, it's kind of weird. Like, okay, we're all in this together. We're gonna have scuffles. We're gonna have, things that we like disagree on, but we kind of have to figure out what can we do to make this world a better place? As difficult as it is nowadays, as so many people are trying to do the opposite or are fighting against, and it's like, man, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just one thing that God has allowed us to experience all these difficulties to just grow and trying to figure out, okay, what can we do to create a life that is worth living, that is something that really is something beautiful, you know? Just go for it. If you fall, you fall. You could get back up. And yeah, let me hit you with another metaphor. In life, you're gonna be people like snakes. You you can take the easy way out, but it's always going to lead to the start. And believe me, in this life, if you want to make something that is gonna really fill you with hope and joy and pure dopamine from achieving something, more than any kind of, addiction that you've had, or something that it's really worth fighting for, it's gonna be made from your own skills, from your own hard work, and not from easy way outs. As hard as it is nowadays, that's the show, and like that's the truth. And it might not sound like a cliche, but that's the honest truth. You know, if you're a miner, you mine the ore. There's no way, like, easy way out of it. You just and it's rewarding what you're gonna find, rather than just, oh, I'm gonna see another person doing it. No, like, you have to do it yourself, because that's what a human being is made for, to go through challenges and be molded and be. Of course, you're gonna have days that you're frustrated and it's like, man, I'm gonna complain about every small detail. But then you, you just gotta think to yourself, okay, next day, how can I be more positive and try to do something that is difficult, that most people think that is like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do today, but I'm gonna like be positive, even though people are gonna be negative about things and they're always gonna doubt you or be like, ah, man, there's no chance of you doing this. Just do it. Don't overthink it. Create YouTube videos. Find your passion. Try to create a company. Try to, if you don't know how, start working like a normal job. I know that it's not easy nowadays, again, but figure it out, And if you even can't do that, just small steps, small steps, small little steps, one day at a time. Don't have these like grandiose plans where I know I said earlier in this video, like, oh, how are you gonna see yourself in 5 years? How are you gonna see yourself today after 1 hour? And then 5 hours, and then okay, tomorrow, and then if that makes you anxious, just focus on today. What I'm gonna do today. And sometimes it's better, like, rather than, freaking out and be like, oh, what am I gonna, it's just so difficult. It's like, okay, be focused and doing less nowadays when it's, especially for young men. So, like, looks maxing or whatever. I think there was this guy called Clavicular. Man, I hope the guy's okay because, man, I don't know what that guy has gone through, but it's kind of, people are fighting so many insecurities nowadays, and it could be, family trauma. It could be, just not having the proper role models as a mom and dad to just like keep you being like, man, the guy, even without like looks maxing, he's a normal looking young man. And it's like, what is the point of, for example, like, hyper, always have this hyper masculinity about how you're gonna look, how you're gonna appear in front of others, when it's like, man, that's anxiety to the next level, where hitting yourself with hammers to with a hammer to like improve your jawline, or when it's like, man, whatever God gave you, you work with it. And it's like, okay, people judge me or whatever. Like, oh, look at your hairline. Oh, look at your scuffed beard. Oh, look at this. Look at that. I was like, man, okay, these are negative things. And I was like, okay, at the end of the day, nobody is perfect, and it's like, that's how God made me, and just I'm trying to find peace with it. And believe me, in an age where it's kind of weird if like they want us to be engineered to where it's like we're always worried about, oh my God, look at how they look. And it's like, man, if you stop scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or whatever social media you're using, and you actually focus on real life, man, when you look at the person in real life, they look totally different to any filtered photo, photoshopped photo, or like whatever people see. And it's like, man, it's a sickness not being engulfed, or not being, what's the words, swimming in reality. Because when you swim in reality, it's like, okay, your brain is starting to develop these neural pathways. How I think it's like, like it's coming, being like, okay, at work, like yesterday, I saw a professional boxer, like a very famous one. um I live in the UK, so like people from the UK are tough people. Boxing, they've always had like really good boxers, and again, seeing them in real life, it's kind of like, man, it's impressive, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's nothing. Because social media like like has this, especially nowadays with the edits, where it kind of looks like these people are trying to be, this unrealistic goal of achieving something that like can never be achieved. Something like, oh man, like we're better than normal people. And it's like, at the end of the day, man, everybody, yes, they've been given opportunities, they're professional athletes, they're this and that. And it's like, man, when you kind of simplify it, and it's like, yeah, um, they're also people with their own issues, their own problems. And it's like, we're all human at the end. So don't worry too much about, if you're struggling with anxiety, if you're struggling with any form of negative feeling, where about like how you look, etc. It's like, man, do not try your best not to harm yourself, really, because the human body, a simple looking person, even that nowadays is, not enough, but you are enough, you know, you are enough. And I know it's not easy nowadays, where the standards are so unrealistic that they're making people sick. That's where it's like they trying to, man, it's like, but I have hope, you know, and also learn to fight negative thoughts, to ignore them, to just truly, you know, have hope that you're enough. And that's everything. That's even what else, like another YouTuber, Asmongold, right? I see him. Whoever is editing his YouTube channel, like promoting him, man, he is doing some amazing job because I even without me watching him, I can see him like advertised on so many just on like I haven't watched any of his videos and I still see advertising of him, his videos, and it's like, yeah, he's gone through a lot of stuff as Mangold, and it is great that he became famous. He is earning a good living from what he's doing, and it's like, man, good for you, Asman. I don't know your real name, man, but from what you've experienced, man, with your mom and dad, and it's like, damn, you know, just again, obviously, there might be some controversial opinions about like what he believes, but again, he's trying to figure out, trying to also live a normal life. I don't know if I agree with all his views, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like we've grown up from like different systems, like different ideologies. America is totally different than any Eastern European country, especially the small ones. Man, and I and at the end of the day, I kind of always be like, man, I'm proud of where I'm from, and I know that it just gives you, this peace, you know, that there's a saying where I'm from: every evil for good. I know it might sound weird to like a Western person, but it's like, man, there's always light until the end of the tunnel. It's pretty much something like that, where it doesn't matter how bad things are, if you endure, you will be so much stronger at the end. So much stronger, and it's gonna be a lesson that is gonna enlighten you. Just, yeah, give you hope to continue and to keep going. Okay, let me try and figure out. I know I'm at the end of the game. Um, there was some sweet spots here. I might just do it like this, because this type of terrain you can, yeah, you can get stuck like that as it's snow. Perfect. And yeah, you know, when you go back and look at what you've done, it's like, oh, I climbed that. I did that, and nobody else can take it away from me. It's like gives you confidence, gives you something to hope for. That things are gonna be okay. Oops. And even if you fall, you get back up. Now I do hope that people don't think this is AI or whatever, because you can see the mouse movement, everything. I don't know what AI is capable of nowadays, but I'm an actual human being trying to just figure out what type of, I mean, just being myself on the internet, not having fake personas, or just not being. Not being someone that you're not. That's very important. Not to mask yourself. I mean, yeah. In this game, I'm sure that people that are are aware of those, like these type of games, especially this one, Your Cauldrons, of this guy Diogenes, whatever it's pronounced. Um, the more time you beat the game, the more it becomes like this golden color. It becomes from black to gold, and I think I've beaten the game. You're gonna see in the end screen how many times, maybe 17, 18 times. So one of the thing is also, again, from what I'm saying, the reason why I don't seem frustrated is because I've beaten the game so many times that it kind of, it doesn't, it numbs you, but in a good way. It's like this feeling where um you already know what to expect, and even if the worst thing happens, you're still gonna beat it one way or another. I know that there is like a specific way of doing this. The red lights, I like it. I like the red light because it's the best way to do it. And that's probably the first kind of emotion, proper emotion that sounded so fake. Oh man. I am making this video like in from 4 in the morning. And yeah. Slowly, slowly. This is gonna be it, right here. The meteors. This one. Gotta be careful because here you can also mess up where it just gonna the gravitational pull of the meteors can mess you up where if you spin yourself downwards, you just end up on the ground. But yeah, like just like falling down. That was it. I was getting over it, and yeah, just have hope that things are always gonna get better. Thank you for watching, and yeah, that was my 21st attempt of the game. 21st win. See ya. Take care.